CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to the sound of suspense. The fear you can hear. For the next 52 minutes, we're going to take you into the world of mystery, into the world of terrifying imagination. The story you are going to hear concerns a question which has been asked since the first men on Earth were born and died. Is there a life after death? Is there a way to return from the grave? And if there is, can we come back in the body of a living creature? The one that has claws instead of fingernails? Answer.
Dr. Singh, you have to tell me. Could my wife have come back as a bird? A sparrow, something like that?
Well, your wife was a rather big woman, Mr. Moresby, in a physical sense.
How about a snake? A seagull? How about a cat? A great, big, fat cat? A cat!
Our mystery drama, The Return of the Moresbys, was written especially for the Radio Mystery Theater by Henry Slessor and stars Patrick O'Neill. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
I'm Hy Brown, producer of Radio Mystery Theater. Before we begin our story, a word. This enterprise is new in modern network radio. But for many who grew up with radio drama, it's the return of a special kind of magic, a vast and magic theater where nothing is impossible, where the listener's imagination is the real star. And now that we're on, we'd like to hear from you, so much so that if you send us your name and address, you're eligible for one of 50 prizes each week for 3 weeks. 2 AM/FM stereophonos, 2 travel clock radios, and 46 anthologies of modern suspense. We'd like hearing how you feel about radio drama. But all you need to do is send us your name and address to Mystery Theater, Box 50, Radio City Station, New York, 119. That's Box 50, Radio City Station, New York, 119. Offer good everywhere unless locally prohibited.
Now here is Act One. Like all murder stories, sooner or later, it reaches the office of a daily newspaper.
You wanted to see me, Chief?
You bet I want to see you, Prouty. Come in and shut that door.
I'll bet I know what it's about. That story I filed on Richard Moresby, right?
I got a flash for you, Prouty. This is a newspaper office, not a fiction magazine. You take this story of yours and see if you can sell it to Weirdo Digest or something. But get it off my desk.
Now, wait a while, Max. I know it's offbeat, but I thought I handled it with a kind of a light touch.
Stories about murder can't be handled with a light touch, not on this paper.
But it's accurate. I mean, this is exactly what the guy Moresby told me, just before he died.
Well, he must have been out of his head.
He asked for somebody to hear his story. That's how I got to meet him. I was at the hospital covering that subway accident.
Now, that story made sense to me. Nothing but nice, clear facts. But this nonsense.
Please, let me tell you about this guy. Maybe you'll change your mind.
All right, what about him?
Well, for one thing, he was a real distinguished-looking guy. The only thing peculiar about him was his eyes.
His eyes?
Yeah. They were the palest blue eyes I ever saw in a man. They weren't really blue at all. They're like silver.
Big deal. So he had silver eyes.
And when he started to tell me about himself, well, I just had to hear the whole story, Chief.
Yes, I was born in
You
London,
read it,
but
too.
my family moved to the States when I was young. They didn't improve much on the climate when they did. We lived in Vermont. I don't think I was ever warm enough until the age of 24 when I moved to Southern California. I lived on beaches. A superb swimmer, a superior surfboarder, and a terrible bum. There was on the beach at Malibu that I met the woman who was to become my wife. Her name was Una. She was as pale as a gardenia with bones. Una had more bones than any other woman I've ever met.
Lovely day, isn't it?
I beg your pardon?
I said it's a beautiful day. I don't think I've ever seen the ocean look prettier.
Frankly, the Pacific always looked a little muddy to me.
I wonder if that's what Balboa said when he first saw it.
Oh, he probably said, what a great place for surfing.
Ah, I see you have a surfboard.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I think I see a wave that I like. Will you excuse me?
Oh, I wish I had the nerve to try it.
Yeah, you really should. Well, bye now.
Maybe I'll ask my chauffeur to teach me.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Charles, my chauffeur. He's very good at sports.
Come to think of it, that wave doesn't look so good after all. By the way, my name is Richard. Richard Moresby.
How do you do? My name is Una.
Una Vandermeyer. That was her name. As soon as I realized that she was from the Vandermeyer family, she didn't seem half as bony as she did before. In fact, not only did I become accustomed to Una's appearance, I was even able to tolerate her inane conversation.
Can't you just feel the mystery of the stars, Richard? Sometimes I feel their vibrations as if they're trying to communicate with me. Do you ever feel that?
Well, sometimes, I suppose.
I really think we must be one with the universe, don't you? I really believe there's just one great universal soul, and we're all part of it. Don't you think so, too?
Yes, of course. Right on, as they say. See what I mean? She thought me all the time. First day of our honeymoon. Well, it was a fine honeymoon just the same. It lasted a whole year on the beaches of the Caribbean, on the French Riviera. I got browner and browner. Una got freckles. Finally, we returned to our home in Los Angeles and settled down to a quiet, comfortable marriage. Earth is that you're playing?
It's sitar music, darling. Oh, it's just so spiritual.
What made you buy the record?
No, Dr. Singh recommended it.
Who?
Dr. Singh, at the Temple of Metapsychosis, you know.
The Temple of what?
Metapsychosis. I told you about joining the temple last week. Oh, Richard, sometimes I think you don't listen to me.
Now, as you may know, Southern California abounds in quasi-religious organizations. And she'd gone through a number of them without discovering the universal soul at any of their altars.
Darling, please come to one of Dr. Singh's lectures. He's such a magnificent speaker. He emits such vibrations.
And I went. You see what an obliging husband I was? Actually, it turned out to be more interesting than I thought. The temple itself was unpretentious, and Dr. Singh was an impressive man. And when he spoke, I realized why his message had such appeal for Una, because he preached to bind eternal life with a love of small animals.
The soul is immortal. The soul cannot die. The soul, upon leaving the body, must make its passage elsewhere. There is a science called eschatology, which deals with the last four things: death, judgment, heaven, and hell. It is the most ancient of all sciences, and from its wisdom has come the inescapable certainty of the transmigration of souls.
Yeah, I know it's a bit weird, but stay with it.
And where does the soul go? According to the wise men of all generations past, the soul departs from the mouth of the dying. It is consequently a small thing. A bird, a snake, a mouse, a dove, or a hawk, a dog, a cat, an insect. For these small creations of God are empty vessels placed upon earth for only one purpose: to house the departing souls of humanity, so that they need not wander forever in a trackless eternity.
Yeah, it's pure rot, of course. But that's what the man said, and Una sat there and believed every single word.
Oh, wasn't he marvelous, Richard? Isn't it wonderful that the soul never dies? That we can all come back as little animals?
I'm not sure I want to come back as an animal.
But you'd still be you, Richard. Oh, don't you see?
Mm-hmm. Well, by the way, what was that envelope you handed Dr. Singh after the meeting?
The envelope? Oh, that was my donation, of course.
Your donation to the temple?
Yes, to support the work of Dr. Singh, to open other temples around the world.
Well, how much money was in the envelope?
What does it matter, Richard?
I'm just curious.
$2,000.
Una, you go to that temple once a week. Do you always give that kind of donation?
Oh, it's all in a very good cause, Richard.
Well, in an equally good cause, that of finding out exactly how much of my wife's money was supporting this nonsense, I sneaked a look at Una's checkbook. The answer astonished me. Not only had my wife put more than $30,000 into Dr. Singh's collection plate, she had also donated some $20,000 more to various institutions for the care and feeding of cats, dogs, and birds.
It was so kind of you to honor us with a visit, Dr. Singh. I know how terribly busy you are.
On the contrary, you were kind to invite me to your lovely home.
Oh. Now tell me, Dr. Singh, what determines the kind of animal one becomes when the soul escapes after death?
Mrs. Moresby, that is a question which has baffled wise men for countless generations.
But isn't it possible to do, research?
Yes, Mrs. Moresby. I don't doubt that we could find the answer to such great questions if only we had the proper resources.
You mean like laboratories and so forth?
No, the research, would be conducted merely by spreading the word of metempsychosis to the farthest corners of the earth, and let human experience reveal the truth to us. But, unfortunately, that would require money, a great deal more money than the movement has at present.
Well, it seems to me you don't do badly. Well, there you are.
Hello, Richard.
Where have you been all morning?
Right here, in my little sewing room.
Don't tell me you were sewing.
Oh, don't be silly. Actually, I've been composing something.
A letter?
Oh, something more important than that. Richard, do you realize that I have no last will and testament?
Well, why should you? Healthy young chicken like you.
I can't call myself young anymore, Richard.
You'll always be young to me, darling.
Oh, that's very sweet. But just the same, it's only practical to have a will. Would you read it over, Richard, and see if it sounds legal enough?
Certainly. Let's see now. I, Una Vandermeyer Moresby, a resident of the city of Los Angeles, state of California, residing at 8 Sheridan Drive, being over the age of 21 and of sound and disposing mind and memory. Darling, this is superb. Where on earth did you get the language?
Well, to tell you the truth, I copied it out of Daddy's will.
The one that left you $10 million?
Yes.
Well, I don't see how you could go wrong. Let's see now. Not acting under duress, menace, fraud, or undue influence of any person whomsoever... And, good Lord, Una.
What is it? What?
You're not serious about this.
Oh, about making a will? Well, of course I am.
I mean, this bequest to the temple, mumbo-jumbo.
What's wrong with it? Now, listen, darling, I told you how important Dr. Singh's work is, but it requires money to carry it on. Tons of money. So the least I can do is to help the poor man as much as I can.
But you're giving him 90% of your entire fortune.
You'll still have $1 million if I go first, Richard. Isn't that enough?
No, it isn't. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. Don't you realize that man is a fraud, a charlatan?
What?
For heaven's sake, Una, open your eyes. don't you realize the simple truth? Your money won't build any temples. It's just going to line the pockets of that turbaned phony.
Richard, what a terrible thing to say. Well, you told me you liked Dr. Singh, that you were very impressed by his theory of transmigration.
Darling, I was only saying all that to please you. But now I'm telling you that the only thing Dr. Singh is planning to transmigrate is your money into his savings account. And frankly, I'm not going to let him do it.
Richard, what are you doing? You're tearing up my will.
That's right.
How dare you do such a thing? It's my money, and I'll do what I please with it.
Ona, darling, I just want to have a chance to come to your senses.
Well, there's nothing wrong with my senses. I can see very clearly what the real trouble is. If I didn't leave a will, all my money would go to you, wouldn't it?
Well, naturally, I'm your husband. You don't have any other
And
evidence.
that's why you're acting this way. It's just plain and simple greed.
Ona, listen to me.
No, it's all right. It's all right. I'm glad you tore up that will, Richard, because I realize now that I was quite wrong.
Do you?
Yes. It's a mistake to leave only $9 million of my money to the temple. I'm going to leave all of it to Dr. Singh.
When Una actually drafted that incredible document and called our attorney for a Monday morning appointment, I realized that I had to do something very drastic before the weekend was over. I had to kill my poor, misguided wife. I had to make her one with the universe.
It's obvious that Mr. Moresby is going to be a very reluctant murderer. The question is, will his reluctance get in the way of his efficiency? We'll get the details when we return shortly. That too. Now let's return to Richard Moresby. In order to find him, we'll have to search the highway, for Richard has taken his white Jaguar out for a spin. But there he is now.
On Saturday morning, I took a little spin in my XKL and did some thinking on the open road. I didn't want to kill poor Una, of course. The whole idea was repellent. But on the other hand, the thought of Dr. Singh spending the fortune that was rightfully mine was even more abhorrent. However, I decided I would make one more stab at a reconciliation. Darling, may I come in?
It's your living room, too.
It doesn't feel like it. Matter of fact, I've felt like a stranger in this house for the past 2 days.
And I suppose that's my fault.
Well, you haven't been exactly cordial, have you?
I've hardly been home, Richard. I spent all day yesterday at the temple and all morning at the pet rest kennels.
And how are all the little souls doing?
You just won't stop being a reverend, will you? It's been my money all along, hasn't it, Richard? From the very beginning, you were attracted to my money.
Oh, now, darling, if you thought that, you would never have married me.
I didn't want to believe it. I don't want to believe it now.
Well, now, how can I prove to you that you're mistaken?
Richard, do you really want to prove it?
Of course, I'll do anything you say.
All right. Now I know exactly what you can do. You can let me leave my money to Dr. Singh and the temple.
The whole 10 million?
Yes, because that's the only way I'll know that it's me you love.
Well, you can't say I didn't try. But Una's decision now left me with absolutely no alternative. I was still deeply unhappy about the necessity of taking her life. However, fate was kind to me that very afternoon.
Now you're sure that you want me to continue reading, Richard?
Of course, darling.
Well, I'm sort of embarrassed about this part. It's a paper that I wrote myself.
Something you wrote?
Yeah, I wrote it this morning. I was going to show it to Dr. Singh. It's a sort of a poem. It's called Death.
Snappy title.
Hope I can read my own handwriting. Death has become nothing to me. Death holds no fear for me. Come, death, I welcome you. Lead me to the woods, the waters, the air above the earth. Come, take me, death. Your touch is kind. Richard? Oh, Richard, why do you look like that? Is it really that terrible?
Oh, terrible. Oh, no, my darling, it's beautiful.
Do you mean it?
You must give it to me, Una. I must have it.
You like it that much?
Yes, I certainly do.
Oh, well, I'll type it up for you, Richard.
No, I must have the original. Now, just the way you wrote it.
Oh, darling, I'm so flattered. What will you do with it?
Oh, I'm going to put it in a frame, of course. And I know just where I'm going to hang it. Yes, I could hardly believe my ears. Una had written her own suicide note in her own handwriting. It was truly karma at work. Now there was no question of failure, and no longer any need for delay.
Oh, what a lovely idea this was, Richard. Candlelight dinner for two.
Yes, I thought you'd enjoy it.
So sweet of you to handle the whole menu with Cook. You spoil me shamefully.
And that night, I spoiled her just a bit more by bringing hot cocoa to her in bed.
Oh, Richard, you shouldn't have bothered.
But I know how you like your hot cocoa before retiring, Una. You can't get to sleep without it.
No, but Parker could have brought it to me.
Oh, no, this is something I had to do myself. No, drink it down now.
Yes. I'm drinking it.
Does it taste all right?
Oh, it tastes just fine.
Now, that was very good news, because I'd prepared the hot cocoa myself. And I had no idea whether 25 melted sleeping pills would seriously affect the flavor. Finally, Una was all tucked in for the night. I went into my study, picked up the poem she had written for Doc to sing, and brought it to the bedroom. I placed it carefully on the night table beside her. Then I bent over my sleeping darling to see if she was getting along all right. She was very, very quiet. And then a dreadful thing happened. Una opened her eyes.
Richard. Oh, Richard.
Hush, darling. Now go back to sleep.
Richard, I'm sick.
No, my love. No, you're only sleepy.
Cocoa tasted so strange. I didn't want to upset you, Richard, but I'm sick.
No, you'll feel much better in the morning, Una. I promise you. Tomorrow morning, you'll be one with the universe.
Richard, that paper.
What paper, darling?
It's my poem. My poem for Dr. Singh. What's it doing there?
I was just reading it over, darling, that's all.
And bottle my sleeping pills. Oh, it's empty. The bottle is empty. Oh, Richard. What have you done?
Nothing, darling, nothing. Now, just go to sleep.
Cocoa. You put sleeping pills in it. All of them.
Don't try to get up, Una, please. Now, don't.
Trying to kill me. You're trying to murder.
No, for heaven's sake, Una, now stop saying things like that. Do you want the servants to hear?
Help somebody. Help.
Now, come on, lie down. Lie down, Una, for heaven's sake. Come on, now, lie down. Lie down. There. That's better.
You won't get away with it. You won't get away with it, Richard. I promise you.
Anything you say, darling.
I'll come back, Richard. You know I'll be back.
Yes. Yes, of course. Just welcome death, Una. The way you wrote in your little poem.
Be back. I swear it. Oh.
The funeral was held 2 days later. It was a magnificent occasion, of course. I gave Una a farewell that was consistent with her vast fortune. Everything was the best. Coffin, flowers, preacher, everything. Her burial place was one of the choicest bits of real estate at Forest Lawn. The only discordant note was the fact that Dr. Singh insisted on saying a few words at the service. They were familiar words, but frankly, they gave me a slight bit of a chill.
The body of Una Moresby is dead, but her soul lives on. The soul cannot die. The soul is immortal. It has left the earthly remains this woman and has sought the body of a small living thing. There it will abide until the Almighty is ready to choose its next home. Mourn not the end of Una Moresby, for there is no end.
I couldn't help congratulating myself on how well everything had gone. When I called for medical attention the night of Una's death, the physician was only too ready to declare her a suicide. The police had to be informed, naturally, and they, too, agreed with the doctor's verdict. Una had died by her own hand, and she had died without a will. There was simply no question that the matter would be probated in my favor. Suddenly I realized I was not only rich, but a rich widower. What vistas opened for me? The devil! Look out, you stupid mongrel! Dog trying to get run over. I admit I was shaken up by it. I mean, it was sort of a coincidence, you know? Right after the funeral and all that. I was very glad to be home again, you can be sure.
Excuse me, Mr. Moresby.
Yes, Parker?
Cook is worried about the raccoon, sir.
The what?
There's been a raccoon at the kitchen door all morning, and Cook is badly alarmed, I'm afraid. I've tried to scare it away, but it keeps returning.
A raccoon, for heaven's sake? Why don't you just shoot it and make a coat out of it?
I was wondering if you wished me to call the game warden, sir.
Oh, please, Parker, do whatever you please about it. I'm going to take a nap.
Yes, sir. Very good, sir.
I went upstairs at once, undressed, and got into bed. It was a warm day, and yet I found myself cold. I got out the electric blanket and soon felt very cozy indeed. In fact, I felt so much better that I made a phone call. Hello. May I speak to Rachel? Thank you very much. Hello, Rachel?
Yeah, who's this?
Rachel, you probably don't even know my name, but it's Moresby, Richard Moresby.
Huh? Who?
You met me at the club numerous times. I'm the rather distinguished-looking gentleman who sits at the table on the far right corner.
Oh, yeah, well, that's not my station.
Yeah, I know it isn't, and I've always regretted it. Frankly, I would have enjoyed my lunches at the club even more if you had served them.
Listen, I'm pretty busy right now.
Well, what I wanted to find out was if you're busy this evening.
Oh, what'd you have in mind?
Oh, a little, dinner, perhaps?
Is that all you had in mind?
Why don't we just wait and see? I can pick you up outside the club whenever you're free.
Yeah, how I know it's you. I mean, I'm still not sure which gentleman you are.
I'll be sitting in an XL Jaguar. You think you'll recognize it?
A Jag? I get off at 6:30.
See you then. Yes, I was feeling very good now. Very good indeed. I would have drifted off into a pleasant sleep except for one thing. For a moment I thought a bomb had gone off in the room. Then I realized it was nothing more than a bird A foolish sparrow had dived in headfirst into the plate glass window of the bedroom and now lay stunned on the carpet. I looked at the thing's fluttering little heart, and suddenly I was struck by a terrifying palpitation of my own. The dog, the raccoon, the bird. Good Lord. Could one of them have been Una?
Has Una Moresby returned from the grave? Nonsense. Such things don't really happen. But perhaps we should reserve judgment until I return shortly with Act 3.
This is WBBM Chicago.
Now let's see if common sense has returned to our hero. He's doing a sensible thing right now. He's taking a good, refreshing shower.
By the time evening came, I was feeling better. All my peculiar notions about Una's animal reincarnation seemed ludicrous as I stood in front of the shaving mirror. I thought about the delicious young woman that was waiting for me at the club. I'd admired Rachel's way with a tray for months, but ever faithful to my wife, I hadn't done more than gaze from afar. But now, things were going to be different. Yes, who is it?
It's Parker, sir.
Yes, come in, Parker. It's all right.
Excuse me, sir. A bit of emergency in the kitchen.
Well, what is it?
A snake, sir.
A what?
Cook insists that there's a snake curled up in the telephone wire.
Oh, that's ridiculous, Parker.
Cook says it's there, Mr. Moresby. They do get into the house sometimes.
Well, tell Cook she's seeing things. Tell her to stop nipping at the cooking sherry, and she'll soon stop seeing snakes.
Yes, sir.
What was that?
I would guess it was Cook, sir.
Oh, for heaven's sake, go down and see to it, Parker.
I'll try, sir. But I'm not very good with snakes, sir.
Well, what do you think I am, an expert? But that wasn't the end of it. 10 minutes later, Parker was back upstairs saying that the snake had left the kitchen and run into the living room. No, I suppose snakes don't run, they slither. It slithered into the living room and was now embracing still another telephone wire, obviously mistaking it for a long-lost love. But then, another unsettling thought came into my mind. What if the snake... No, that was ridiculous. Hello?
Hi. Is this Mr. Moresby?
Yes, who's this?
Rachel, from the club.
Oh, yes, Rachel, what is it?
Listen, could you make it 6 instead of 6:30? I'll try to sneak out a little early.
Yes, fine, I'll be there as soon as I can.
In the Jaguar, right?
Yes, in the Jaguar.
Listen, the reason I want to leave earlier is because my husband always picks me up at 6:30.
What was that?
So I asked one of the girls I work with to tell him I got another job someplace. He won't care. He likes me to earn extra money.
Yes, I see.
So, just to make the story look good, I guess you'll have to lend me a few dollars after our date.
Yes, of course.
And listen, I really do remember you, sugar. You're the handsome one with a cute bald head. See you soon.
As it happens, I have a very full head of hair. But distressing as Rachel's telephone call was, an even more disturbing thought intruded. The snake was in the telephone wire. What if the snake had been trying to listen in on the extension phone? I knew the idea was absurd, but I couldn't help a superstitious shiver of dread. In fact, I was so troubled that I decided to forego my date with Rachel, the waitress. It wouldn't matter anyway. She'd be angry at some man at the club with a cute, bald head. The next day, I did the only thing that really relaxed me. I went to the beach. It proved to be an excellent idea. I stretched out on the golden sand and let the sun warm me. I listened to the waves beating against the shore. I listened to the haunting cries of seagulls circling overhead. Suddenly I was aware that the gulls which had been hovering over the water were now hovering over me. Now, instead of their cries being sad and plaintive, now they seemed menacing. I stood up hastily, but the gulls seemed to be increasing in number. I saw their sharp, pointed beaks, their raking claws. They were predators, of course. How many times had I seen them swoop into a dive and snatch up some poor fish out of the sea? And there was one seagull in particular. Its beady eyes seemed to be staring at me. No, it was my imagination, of course. I wasn't a fish. I was a man, but just the same, I found myself running down the beach. Running for dear life. And that's when I knew it was time to see a doctor.
Yes, Mr. Moresby. I'm very pleased that you honored the temple with your presence.
I'm grateful that you're willing to see me, Dr. Singh. I realized that, well, you had a disappointment.
A disappointment? I'm afraid I don't understand.
I know my wife made certain promises to you concerning her will.
I believe she mentioned some modest donation.
She wasn't in her right mind, of course. I mean, when she took those sleeping pills.
Yes, it was very sad. I trust that she has found the peace and happiness that she sought.
Frankly, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I mean, about whether you really believe that my wife is, well, that she's some kind of animal right now.
But of course I believe it, Mr. Moresby. I don't merely believe. I'm positive. When your wife passed from this world into the next, her soul made its escape.
Yes, but what I'd really like your opinion about is what sort of animal do you think she might be now?
I told you, Mr. Moresby, we have no way of knowing.
But can't you take a guess? I mean, you said it might be influenced by a person's karma. Am I quoting you right?
Yes. The kind of person she was in life may well determine the kind of animal she is now. Your wife was soft. Your wife was gentle. Your wife was independent in spirit. Now, what animal does that remind you of?
I don't know. I can't think.
Then go home and think about it, Mr. Moresby. Go home and try to be one with the universe.
I went home, and I tried to be one with the universe. And when that didn't work, I tried being one with a bottle of scotch. I was still in the library, asleep in the big leather chair, when I heard the noise in the cellar. I simply had to investigate. I looked into the cellar and found that one bare bulb wasn't enough for a thorough search. I found a flashlight and went down the cellar steps. At first there was nothing I could see. But then, there's an empty oil can. Swiftly, my flashlight picked out the culprit. At first, I thought it would turn out to be a mouse, but instead, it was a large, white cat. I don't like cats. I never have. Skulking, cynical creatures. When the beam of my flashlight hit it, the cat froze. I saw its shaggy, its eyes baleful in the light. It was fat, and yet it was bony, too. I said scat, but it didn't scat. Instead, it started to walk toward me. And I knew for certain what Dr. Singh had meant. I knew for certain I was looking at the reincarnation of my wife. He assaulted me. I made a cowardly dash for the cellar door. Once I was on the other side, I remembered the hunting rifle that Una had given me for Christmas. It stood unused in an upstairs closet. I I found it. I loaded it and brought it back to the cellar. I hadn't fired a rifle since boyhood. I stood on the top of the stairs with my flashlight, picked out the ghostly white form of the cat. I put down the light, raised the weapon, and squeezed the trigger. The report was deafening, but the recoil was worse. My precarious balance on the top step was lost. I fell to the bottom. I tried to get up again, but the pain in my right leg was agonizing. I found out later that it was broken. But the cat was still alive. And it was regarding me at eye level now. Its fur matted with plaster dust. Its eyes filled with hatred. I tried to crawl toward my fallen rifle. Just as I saw the creature advancing toward me, I screamed, "Una!" My hand was on the rifle now, grasping it too quickly in my panic. My fingers touched the trigger, the rifle went off again.
Well, that's how Moresby ended up in the hospital, Chief, with a broken leg and a bullet in his hip.
And then he died.
But I think he was telling the truth. You could see it in his eyes.
His silver eyes, right?
Yeah, his silver eyes.
And you really believe that the guy's wife came back as a cat to get her revenge?
What does it matter? It's still a good story.
Sorry, Prouty, I can't okay it.
Well, what if I got more details? What if I talked to this Dr. Singh? If I went to the Moresby cellar and found that cat?
And what would you do then? Ask her if she's Mrs. Moresby?
I still think it's worth a try, Chief.
I'll tell you what, Prouty. What are you doing for lunch?
I hadn't thought about it.
Well, think about buying my lunch.
You?
There's a pretty good restaurant right around the corner where the Moresbys lived. Now, we can get a bite there and then check out that cellar. So, this is where it happened, huh?
Moresby fell from these steps when he fired that rifle. Hey, you can still see the plaster dust where the bullet hit.
Yeah, I see it. But I don't see any white cat.
It might be hiding someplace.
Or it might be a figment of his imagination.
Maybe so. Hold it. Did you hear something?
No.
Listen. There it is. Look.
It's a cat, all right. And it looks like it just found its supper.
Oh, that mouse is still alive.
Yeah, but not for long. Look at it squirm.
He's eating it.
Yep. And there goes your mouse.
Oh, my God.
What's the matter, Prouty? Never see a cat eat a mouse before?
Chief, did you see that mouse?
Sure, I saw it.
But didn't you notice something?
Like what?
Its eyes. Chief, did you ever see a mouse with eyes like that? They were so pale blue, they were almost silver.
And mouse game comes to an end. But according to Dr. Singh, there is no end. Perhaps Richard Moresby will have his turn next in another afterlife. I'll be back in a few moments. Do you believe in reincarnation? Do you believe the dead return? We have to believe it, because here we are, the reincarnation of radio drama. We hope you'll keep us alive by listening again to the Radio Mystery Theater. Our cast included Patrick O'Neill, Marion Seldes, Nick Pryor, and Dan Ocko. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. Now, a preview of our next tale.
Are you all right, Jerry?
Yeah. I'm all right. But I saw him.
Who?
Oh, a guy I was in the army with.
The two of you. Were you close?
He was my buddy.
Well, when was the last time you saw him in person?
The night he was killed.
Have you ever seen him again? Like you thought you did just now?
No. No, this is the first time.
Well, maybe you need a rest, Jerry.
Hattie, why now? Why tonight after all these years?
Well, you say you saw him last the night he died in battle. Well, the sight of him dead must have stayed with you always.
But that's not how I just saw him, Patty. He wasn't in uniform. He was in civilian clothes.
You might have pictured him as he looked at a happier time.
I never saw him in civilian clothes.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. I don't know if you've ever stopped to think about it, but of all the creatures in the animal kingdom, only man, and man alone, will murder his mate simply because she no longer pleases him. True, certain of our friends in fur, fin, or feather will indulge in desertion or even divorce, but murder? For that, you must have the highest degree of culture and civilization. For that, you have to be human.
I must know what I can do, Doctor, to keep myself from killing my wife.
Why do you want to kill her?
I don't want to kill her.
Well, then, what makes you think you're going to?
I've been told I'm going to do it.
By whom?
I've been told unmistakably and in no uncertain terms. And that's what scares me.
But who told you?
Pluto.
Who's Pluto?
A cat.
A cat told you?
Yes. My wife's cat.
Our mystery drama, The Black Cat, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars Norman Rose. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. I'll be back shortly with Act One. Consider the act of murder. Popular opinion has it the majority of killers are ruthless, cold-blooded, devoid of pity. But the facts tell a different tale. Statistics reveal most murderers are neither brutal nor savage. The record shows you don't have to be a devil or a demon or even a criminal. Experience teaches a killer could be any one of us. Given the time, the place, the provocation, it could be you. It could be I. And it could even be Philip Sterling.
Sylvia says you want to see me, Mr. Fenris.
That's right, Phil.
Well?
I have a simple statement to make. A brief 13-word announcement.
I had no idea you measured out your words.
They should add up to 13, because it happens to be an unlucky statement as far as you're concerned.
Suppose you end the suspense, Mr. Fenris. What is this historic pronouncement,
If you marry my daughter,
I will cut her off without a cent.
Yes, it does add up to 13 words.
And you'd better believe him.
Well, then I have no choice. I'll break the engagement. I certainly can't marry Sylvia if she has no money.
Why, you unprincipled scoundrel.
Mr. Fenris, while I may be a scoundrel, I do have principles.
You admit you want to marry Sylvia for her money?
What other reason could I possibly have?
Well, of all the
Don't sputter at me, Mr. Fenris. After all, it's your fault.
What, my fault?
Without question. Had you been a better father, more loving, more attentive, you would have raised a more attractive daughter.
Well, I'll have you thrown out of here.
Consider Sylvia calmly, objectively. She's immature. She's naive. She's hopelessly romantic. She's careless. That's my word. Others would say sloppy about her weight, about her appearance. It's your fault. Your fault, all of it.
I'll have you know I gave my daughter everything.
You gave her only what money could buy. And in addition to everything else, she has that damn black cat, that Pluto, and she pretends she can talk with it.
But she's kind. She's gentle.
Of course. Otherwise, she'd be unbearable.
Why am I even discussing this? Get out of here.
Face the facts. You're 75 years old.
70.
How much longer can you live? 10, 15 years? With Sylvia, she'll still be under 40. And the money, all of it hers, to squander as she sees fit. And you know she'll be the natural target of every sharp-shooting fortune hunter.
I told you to get out.
You say that one more time, and I will. Oh, be practical, Mr. Fenris. I'm the best hope you've got. Because all I want to do with her money, your money, is enjoy it. I'm not burning to build empires. I only want to live comfortably. And on your money, I can. And, well, I even happen to like Sylvia. Just enough to put up with her.
I think you must be the devil himself.
Well, better the devil you know than the devil you might get. Oh, it's ironic, isn't it? 2 minutes ago, you were scared stiff I'd marry Sylvia. Now you're absolutely petrified I won't.
Daddy? Oh, please. Pluto and I simply couldn't wait any longer. Daddy, you do approve of Phil. You do, don't you?
Sylvia, I have a 4-word statement to make. Bless you, my children.
Oh, hey. Who set that thing?
Good morning, Phil, darling. I did.
You did? What for?
We have to be up and about.
Oh, at 5:45 in the morning?
Oh, I intend to make your breakfast.
I never eat breakfast.
Oh, well, you should. You should. Gets the day off to a glorious start.
Well, it's not as if I'll be swinging a pick and shovel.
Well, maybe you should. Oh, Pluto's up. Would you get out of bed, Phil, darling, and let him in?
Yes, dear.
Oh, isn't he just the sweetest thing in the world?
Yes, he sure is.
Now, what were we talking about?
Picks and shovels and hearty breakfasts. A combination guaranteed to make me ill.
Phil, you don't know a thing about the construction business.
I never claimed I did. I was honest with your father.
But then why did you accept a job with a plush office and a secretary?
Because I honestly intend to learn the business.
Then that's why you should walk into Daddy's office and say, Sir, the only way to learn this business is from the ground up.
Well,
Well, you know I'm right. And besides, Pluto thinks it's a splendid idea.
Pluto thinks?
Oh, of course he does, don't you, Pluto? Matter of fact, Pluto and I discussed it last night.
Sylvia.
Why can't you believe Pluto and I talk together?
Because to talk means to exchange words, and Pluto cannot.
No, dear. To talk together means to exchange thoughts. And that's what we do, Pluto and I.
How?
Well, you look Pluto in the eye, and then you beam your thoughts at him, and he just beams his thoughts back at you. That's talking, that's communicating, isn't it?
Well...
I looked into Pluto's eyes, and he looked into mine, and he just beamed that idea about the way you could learn Dad's business right into my head. So, don't you see? You have Pluto to thank for it.
Yeah. Thanks, Pluto. All my life, I hated work. Put in in an August day on a road-building crew, under a relentless sun that beats down. The heat shimmers off that concrete at about 115 degrees, and you will know what punishment is.
Phil, darling, where does it hurt?
Everywhere.
Well, a little gentle massage will ease those aches.
No, nothing. Nothing will ever relieve these pains.
Pluto says you'll get used to it.
Now, you just tell Pluto for me that I will never get used to it.
You will. Let Pluto tell you himself. Will you tell him, Pluto, dear?
Oh, come on, Sylvia.
You say that you won't get used to that kind of work. You just beam that thought into Pluto's eyes.
Sylvia, my back hurts. I'm in no mood
will
for...
give you inspiration and courage. You just look into Pluto's eyes. Come on, Pluto. Yep, up on the bed, jump. That's it. Now, look into Phil's eyes. Don't you feel Pluto's thoughts coming into your mind?
I don't know what color a cat's eye is supposed to be, but suddenly I was staring into a kaleidoscope of brilliant hues, flaming reds, freezing greens, burning yellows, icy blues, all of them shifting, twisting, trying to form into shapes. And there was this terribly taut feeling of tension, as if the entire kaleidoscope were trying to dissolve into a scene. And finally, the way a bubble bursts, all the colors blended into that one icy blue. That icy blue became two of the coldest, frostiest eyes I'd ever seen in my life. The eyes of a sharp-faced man in a black robe, and he was talking to me.
Philip Frederick Sterling, have you anything to say before the sentence of this court is passed upon you?
I didn't do it. I swear I didn't. I couldn't kill anyone. I'm not made that way. You must believe me. I'm not a killer.
You shall be in prison at the state penitentiary
No, you can't do it. I'm innocent.
until the 3rd day of April.
No,
At
no,
which time
no.
you shall be...
What did you do? What did you do to Pluto?
Huh? I didn't do anything to Pluto.
He saw something in your eyes.
Oh, what could he have seen?
The future.
The future?
Yes. He saw the future, and it frightened him. Oh, he's terrified. And so are you.
Me? What are you talking about? I'm not...
Why are you shaking all over?
Who's...
You are. Phil. What did you see in Pluto's eyes?
Nothing.
But Phil...
I said I saw nothing. I could say that to her, Doctor, but not to myself. Because I had seen something. A courtroom, a judge, a jury, a defendant. And, of course, that defendant was me.
Go on, Mr. Sterling.
I wasn't imagining this, Doctor. I looked into the eyes of that cat, and I saw...
Yes, you saw that you were being convicted of murder and sentenced by a judge.
You don't think I'm crazy?
Crazy has many connotations. Whether or not you're crazy, as you put it, is irrelevant here.
But why should I see such a scene?
I think you know why.
Oh, I don't.
I say you do.
Please, Doctor, tell me why.
It's because you want to kill your wife.
That's ridiculous.
Why did you marry her?
For her money.
So far, you haven't been able to spend 1 cent of her money.
Well, I'm willing to wait.
And work on a road gang?
What do you suggest?
If I were you, I would leave her.
Why?
You made a bad bargain. You thought you'd fall in soft. It isn't happening. You're beginning to resent her. Already the thought of murder is rattling around in your conscience.
Now, look, the old man is worth millions. She gets all of it. Oh, no, I can't walk out on that.
Well, then reconcile yourself to the road gang.
If I have to, I will.
Oh, darling, reach down and pat Pluto's head.
Huh?
He's forgiven you.
For what?
For scaring him the other day.
Oh, poor Pluto. Come here, boy.
Now you see how he likes you?
Well, I like him, too. We're pals, aren't we, Pluto?
Well, do you think you could talk to each other again?
Oh, sure. How are things, Pluto, baby?
No, I mean really talk. Look into his eyes.
Oh, that.
Look into them, Phil. Maybe Pluto has something to tell you.
Well, okay.
Talk to Phil, Pluto. Talk to him.
Once again, I looked into Pluto's eyes. Deep into his eyes. Once again, the colors surged and swirled. Reds, greens, blues, yellows. Boiling, burning. And suddenly, all the roiling motion stopped. As if it were frozen. And the icy blue predominated. And once again, I was staring into those two icy blue eyes. The eyes that belonged to the sharp-faced man in the jet-black robe.
In all my years on the bench, I've never encountered murder so foul.
I didn't do it.
I must warn the prisoner. If he insists on interrupting...
But I didn't do it.
The fiendishness of this act...
I couldn't do it.
Only a monster...
No!
As the poet said, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. He might have added, I am the ruler of my mind. It's an interesting project Phil Sterling has set up for himself. Talk out the bad, talk in the good. Drive murder out of his brain and coax love into his heart. If such a thing can be done, it will happen when I return shortly with Act Two.
The WBBM News Time, 10:51.
If, as they say, you can see the entire universe in a single drop of water, why is it unreasonable to suppose that Philip Sterling can see the future in the eyes of a cat? Phil is not only convinced he can see his future, he is also certain he can change it. For the better, naturally.
Sylvia, call Pluto in here.
Oh, darling, he's very frightened.
Call him in. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not sure that I should.
I need him.
You what?
Sylvia, you're the one who insisted on having the word obey in the marriage ceremony. Call Pluto in here.
Pluto. It's all right, baby.
Yes. Here, Pluto.
All right, up on Phil's lap. That's it.
Yes. I want to look into his eyes.
Oh, I don't think it's wise.
Well, I have my reasons.
All right. Pluto, Phil wants to talk to you. Pluto, talk to Phil.
Once again, I looked into Pluto's eyes, and I saw nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. What do you say to that, Dr. Myers? Murder? If it was ever in there, I drove it out of my mind. I drove all thoughts of murder out of my mind.
Oh, look. Pluto's smiling.
Of course.
And you. You're smiling, too.
I'm smiling because I love you.
Oh, Phil. What's got into you lately?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
Keep to your left. Keep to your left. Keep to your left. Come on. There's plenty of room.
Come on, keep moving. Oh, my God, it can't be, but it is. Gwen, look.
It's Phil.
Phil, baby, is this for real?
Phil, darling.
Oh, wait till the gang hears about this. Oh, hi, Gwenny. Bruce. Phil,
Phil, darling, I never knew you had such muscle.
What happened, Phil? Does your father-in-law lose all his money?
Look, you're holding up traffic.
Is this what marriage does to a man?
I'll explain it some other time. Get moving. Get moving, or I'll catch it from my foreman.
Everything go all right today?
Oh, sure.
You haven't said a word all during dinner.
Well, I'm just tired.
Well, I know you're not used to hard work, but you'll see. You'll find it so rewarding.
Oh, sure.
I have a surprise for you. Want you to ask me what it is?
Okay.
It's Dad's wedding gift. You know what he wants to give us? A house. A house of our very own. He wants to give us the house on Rogers Cove.
The big one?
Yep, the big one with the boat landing, the tennis court.
Well, that is a gift.
Well, I turned it down.
You what?
I turned it down.
But Sylvia, why?
Because we can't afford it.
We can't afford it.
Not on your salary. You don't know how hard I had to work to restrain my father.
From doing what?
Well, just everything, right away. Now, think of that, what it would do to you. It would absolutely rob you of your initiative.
Sylvia, we shouldn't insult your father by,
All in good time, darling. Our first home should be a modest ranch house, or would you prefer a split level? In a development with other young couples like ourselves.
But, darling...
Now, Phil, I had a long talk about it with Pluto.
With Pluto?
He'll show you the wisdom of it. Pluto, go to Phil.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Sylvia. Sylvia, I must tell you, I love you.
Of course you do.
I love you. My only desire is to protect you, to keep you from harm.
Now, Pluto. Phil wants to talk with you.
Once again, I looked into those eyes. Once again, the whirl of blinding colors. But this time, something was different. In the struggle among the blues, the yellows, the greens, and the reds, the bright crimson reds, they were winning out. Everything was red. Flowing red. Blood red. Red blood on a pale white face. Blood on Sylvia's face.
Phil, please. Don't hit me. Oh, Phil, please.
I told you. I warned you.
Phil, no.
You ruined my life. All my friends laugh at me.
I love you, Phil. Oh, please don't hit me again.
Get up. I'm not through.
Oh.
Get up. Sylvia.
Phil, honestly, you have the most violent conversations with Pluto. Oh, no, Pluto. Everything's all right. Phil, what were you and Pluto talking about?
Nothing at all.
Where are you going?
Out.
Oh, I'll come with you.
No.
Oh.
Sylvia, can't you understand? Sometimes a man just wants to be by himself, that's all.
Of course, darling, I understand. We understand, don't we, Pluto? Yes.
You want to go back to the party?
Maybe later. It's much cozier here.
I must say, absence does make the heart grow fonder.
Oh, I missed you, Gwenny.
Oh, Phil, how do you stand it?
Oh, I have fantastic powers of endurance. That is, I hope I do.
You know, what with her talking to that cat and everything else, maybe you could get her committed to, an asylum. After all, she is crazy.
Oh, no. no. Only poor people are crazy. Rich people are eccentric.
Phil, I'm worried about you.
Sure, don't be. I will be fabulously wealthy one day.
Is that all there is to it?
That's all there ever was for me.
I don't like what it's doing to you.
Oh, come on, Gwen. What's it doing to me?
Well, you're not the same. You were always so happy-go-lucky.
Well, that might have been just a pose.
No, there's something new inside of you.
Really? What?
Kind of violence.
Violence? I'm allergic to violence.
Think so?
You know what I always say. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Violence? Why, I can't even...
Don't protest so much, Phil. It shows.
How?
When we ran into you on the road, Bruce and I, we started to kid you. You turned livid.
I don't remember.
You were trembling with rage.
That's your imagination.
You tried to hide it.
Well, maybe you're right. There are times when I could just...
When you could just what?
Kill her. You know, it scares me. I never felt that way before. About anybody. If I stay with her, I know that I'll kill her. And then... then, what good is the money?
Ah, that's delicious.
Have another helping, Dad.
You know, Phil, she used to break the heart of every chef I'd hire. These fellas all had international reputations, but she'd just walk into the kitchen and whip up a little dish and put them all to shame.
Daddy, the preparation of food is a personal, intimate thing. Oh, we shouldn't hire strangers to do it. Don't you agree, Phil?
I've never seen Phil so quiet.
That's right. Darling, both you and Pluto haven't said a word all evening.
Well, I don't know about Pluto, but I am preparing a statement.
Oh, that sounds serious.
It's a very important statement.
Now, that's a coincidence. I, too, have a statement. May I?
Of course.
Phil, you've absolutely exceeded all my expectations. You've been an excellent husband to Sylvia. You've been conscientious on the job. And so, therefore, I have a 7-word statement. Odd that it should add up to 7 because it's a lucky statement, and, well, here it is. I have included you in my will.
Oh, Daddy. Oh, that's wonderful. Isn't it wonderful, Pluto?
I know now, Phil, that you'll succeed in the business. One day, they'll all be yours.
Oh, Phil, did you hear that?
Oh, yes. Yes, I heard it.
Well, now that Daddy has made his statement, what was yours?
What was mine? I was ready to say 4 simple words. I want a divorce. However, at that moment, it seemed like a stupid thing to do. I happened to glance at Pluto. He was looking up at me. His eyes were wide, and I could see the colors swirling again. But this time, the yellows, the bright flaming yellows, overwhelmed the others. And then, the yellow turned softer. It began to gleam like gold, solid gold. Oh, what a fool I would be to throw away a chance to own one of the largest construction companies in America. I looked at Sylvia. I would simply have to love her. That's all. Love her so earnestly, so devotedly that I wouldn't have the inclination to kill her. The problem was solved.
Aren't you going to make your statement, Phil?
Well, as it turns out, I really don't have one.
You're playing a dangerous game. All your instincts tell you to get out. But suddenly, the stakes are raised to dizzying heights. What do you do? Phil Sterling has decided to stand pat. But how strong is his hand? Losers and winners in this game of life and death will be determined when I return shortly with Act 3.
This is WBBM Chicago News Radio 78.
Why should love be a random, subjective thing, completely beyond our conscious control? Why can't we say, she is the logical person for me to love? Phil Sterling is determined to love his wife, because if he can't, he knows he will have to kill her.
Oh, darling, let's quit for the night.
Well, I can mix a batch of cement and start on the wall if you want me to.
You work hard all day. Then you come home at night, and I make you work in the basement.
Oh, well, I don't mind.
Come on upstairs, wash up.
No, I'd just as soon keep working and finish this.
Oh, but not tonight, Phil. I asked the Conways over for coffee.
The Conways?
Well, they really are such lovely people.
Well, he's a bore.
Phil?
And she's such an idiot.
Phil, you have to be friendly with your neighbors.
Why?
Oh, darling, don't lose touch with ordinary people.
Gwen, I don't know what I'd do without you.
Well, that's what friends are for.
I just have nobody else to talk to. On the job, at home, the neighbors. I think I'm about ready to flip.
Well, Phil, you could always leave.
I can't. You know, you hear people say, I wouldn't do this or that for $1 million. But it's academic. Nobody ever offered them the $1 million. With me. Gwen, with me, the money is there.
It's not quite there.
It's mine. I just have to wait it out. I am in the will. I am in it for 50%. Gwen, you know how much that is?
Mm-hmm.
Besides, he's very old. How much longer can he live?
Oh, Phil, you always were a genius when it came to figuring things.
I wish I knew how to figure this.
Well, you know you can't stay, and you don't have the nerve to leave.
That isn't true.
Been getting any readings from Pluto lately?
Cut it out, Gwen.
I bet you're afraid to look.
Phil, you haven't eaten a thing.
I'm not hungry.
Oh, darling, something's troubling you. Talk to Pluto. You'll feel better.
I don't want to talk to Pluto.
Oh, he's such a comfort. Talk to Phil, Pluto. Yes.
Sylvia, I love you.
Well, I love you, and Pluto loves you, too. Tell him you love him, Pluto. Meow. Well, I know something will cheer you up. Daddy's got the results from his physical today, and he's in the best shape of his life.
He is?
And you deserve all the credit. Because he doesn't have to worry about me anymore. The doctor said Daddy will probably live forever.
Oh, that's great.
Phil, I can tell you're not feeling...
I'm fine.
You're out of sorts. Come on, let Pluto comfort you.
Keep that cat away from me.
Pluto is not that cat. Meow! Oh, no, you see, you've hurt his feelings.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Tell him you're sorry. Phil wants to apologize, Pluto. Tell him you forgive him. Go.
Once again, I was staring into Pluto's eyes. And into that boiling maelstrom of colors, all I could see now was brown. And it was the brown of the cement in the basement. And on this brown cement was a sharp and pointed mason's trowel. And suddenly, the trowel was in my hand.
No, you'll kill Pluto!
That's right.
You're mad!
Get out of my way!
Oh, no!
He's driving me crazy! I have to kill him!
Phil, what's wrong? You're trembling.
It's nothing.
It can't be nothing.
I'm going out.
Again? Where?
For a walk.
Where do you always go on these walks?
Nowhere. I just walk. Now stop nagging. I don't know what I would do without you, Gwen.
Good old Gwen. Comfy as a pair of old shoes. Ready as a candlestick. Reliable, dependable. There when you need me.
Well, it's true.
Well, congratulate me. I'm getting married.
What? Married? Why?
Why? Has it occurred to you I might want a life of my own? Bruce asked me to marry him.
Oh, Bruce.
He may not be much, but he's all mine. And at least he asked me.
Gwen, listen. In just a couple of years, I'll really be rich.
And I hope you'll be very happy.
I'll make it up to you.
As they say in the movies, I guess this is goodbye.
But, Gwen, if I can't see you...
No, Philip. All or nothing. That's what I want. And to be fair, it's what Sylvia wants. Choose between us. Who gets all and who gets nothing.
Well, maybe I would miss Gwen. But not for long. Gwen comes back. She always comes back. My problem, Sylvia. Oh, I have to calm down. Keep your temper. Concentrate on loving Sylvia. Loving Sylvia.
Phil?
Yes, dear.
Pluto and I have a question to ask you.
Oh, what is it?
Who is Gwen?
What did you say?
I think you heard me. He heard me, didn't he, Pluto?
Meow.
Who is Gwen?
Well, Gwen is a girl I used to know.
When did you last see her?
Now, look, what is
I'd
this?
like an answer.
Sylvia, who told you about Gwen?
Who do you think? Pluto.
What does Pluto know?
Everything. You're in love with her, aren't you?
No.
Don't lie to me.
I am telling you the truth.
You can lie to me, but you can't lie to Pluto.
Sylvia! Sylvia, now listen to me. I am telling you the truth. I love you.
Oh, tell that to Pluto. I dare you to tell that to Pluto.
Pluto, that mangy cat. Hey, where are you going?
Home.
You're home now.
No. I'm going to Father. I never want to see you again.
That damn cat, I'll kill him.
No. Please, don't. Run, Pluto. Run.
Oh, that stupid cat. Look, he ran down to the basement, Sylvia. He can't get away now. I've got you cornered, you stupid cat.
Dodge him. Pluto, dodge him.
You get away. You won't get away.
Phil, you're mad. Put down that trowel.
Stand still. Stand still, you stupid beast. You've got nowhere to go.
Here, Pluto. Here, come to me. Come, I'll protect you.
Sylvia, let go of that cat. You give me Pluto.
No!
I won't have any peace. I won't have any sanity until I kill him.
No, Phil, no!
Let go of him.
No!
Sylvia. No. Sylvia! They were both dead. I had killed them both. My temper had gotten the best of me. I had to think fast. Think. First, I built a wall of cinder blocks and cement. I had everything there to do it. And then I placed her and Pluto behind it. And finally, I painted the wall and the entire basement, so there were no signs of fresh construction. I washed away every blood stain from the floor and from my hands, from my clothes. The place was absolutely spotless. And then I assumed a new role, and I played it to perfection. The worried husband.
What could have happened to her, Phil?
I don't know. Oh, I'm scared. How could she just disappear?
You two weren't quarreling, were you?
What, Sylvia and I?
No, I know. The lovebirds.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm scared of. She has all kinds of, weird ideas. And, what with that cat? Who knows? Maybe she just wandered off.
Well, we'll find her. You have to be brave, son.
Oh, I just couldn't get along without her, Dad. only worry was the will. But I was still in it. So that worry was unnecessary. And actually, I was in it bigger and better than before. You know, maybe I should have killed her sooner. Yes?
Mr. Sterling?
I'm Mr. Sterling.
We're police officers.
Oh?
May we come in? I'm Lieutenant Haley. Sergeant Miller.
Yes.
Detective Krause.
Well, what can I do for you, gentlemen?
Your wife has been reported missing.
Yes, that's right.
I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Well, my father-in-law and I wrote out a deposition. He's Frank J. Fenris, a very influential man.
So I've heard. Your wife disappeared last Tuesday night.
Oh, yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Conway, your next-door neighbors, report they heard sounds of arguing.
Did they?
Mrs. Conway characterized it as a fight.
Well, Mrs. Conway is a fool.
But did you have a fight with your wife?
Certainly. Don't you ever fight with your wife, Lieutenant?
Do you have any idea where your wife might be now?
Lieutenant, do you suspect me of doing away with Sylvia?
No, sir.
I don't like the tone of your voice. And I don't like the look on your face either.
I'm sorry.
Yes, it's that cynical, know-it-all cop look. Yes. You figure that I killed her.
Mr. Sterling, I'm sorry if we seem to irritate you, but our job requires that we ask questions.
So what did I do, Lieutenant? Kill her and hide her body?
Nobody said that, sir.
Then why are you here?
To search the house.
Now, I know my rights. For that, you need a warrant.
We have a warrant.
Oh. Well, go ahead.
Jim, Otto, look around.
Well, Lieutenant, any corpses in the closets?
Will you show us to the basement?
The basement?
Yes. You have one?
Well, of course we do. Just follow me.
Jim? Anything? Otto? Mr. Sterling, I'm sorry we put you to so much trouble. Something the matter, Mr. Sterling? Mr. Sterling?
Huh? No, I'm all right.
Are you ill? You look so pale. I know this must be a difficult time for you, Mr. Sterling.
Yes, it is.
Well, we're through here. Are you sure you're all right?
Oh, yes. I'm just fine.
Well, goodbye, sir.
Goodbye.
You know, it's funny. I'm a cat. He must be right in this room, but I don't see him.
A cat? A cat? What cat?
You mean you don't hear that cat? Why, he's behind that wall. He has to be behind that wall.
Pluto. Oh, no. It can't be Pluto. He's dead.
Otto, Jim, get some tools. We're going to break down that wall.
He's dead. I killed him. Why isn't he dead?
Why? The answer is simple, and it's also the moral of our story, which is, a man is ill-advised to fool with a cat. Why? Because a man only has one life, while a cat has 9. And at this point in time, Philip Frederick Sterling has no lives at all, while Pluto still has 8. I'll be back shortly. What we're doing on this show is bring back some of the best of the good old days. And a good old expression used to be, the cat's meow. Mom and Dad used it all the time, even though they didn't exactly know what it meant. Well, after this tale, we know. Our cast included Norman Rose, Marion Seldes, Robert Dryden, Joe DeSantis, and Evie Juster. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
3 times on different expeditions we have excavated with no success. This time we have managed to isolate the mastaba itself, in spite of every kind of miserable luck. Cave-ins, men injured, crews deserting. But at last, within the next few days, I'm convinced the entrance will be found.
Oh, how exciting, how wonderful for you. And Hasiba, I hope she isn't a disappointment. Was she really so beautiful, do you think?
Incredibly. Her face shamed the shining sun, and the day was lit up by the light of her countenance.
You know, you sound as though you'd actually seen her.
I have.
You have?
Oh, yes, my dear. For every description fits you.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser, and by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Special K cereal. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. It was the noble Bassanio who asked the question in The Merchant of Venice, "Tell me, where is fancy bred? Or in the heart, or in the head?" Now, in Bassanio's case, the question was rhetorical, or if you prefer, an apostrophe, because he really didn't expect an answer. But, a little late perhaps, here is at least one answer. Fancy is bred in both the head and heart of a bright little girl, a lonely little girl called Dinah.
She talks to herself, David.
Who doesn't, if you're alone enough?
Out loud?
Sometimes, like to an imaginary playmate.
Well, this isn't exactly the same. The playmate talks back in a different voice.
You've got to be kidding.
I only wish I were.
Our mystery drama, The Child's Cat's Paw, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Sarah Parker. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
If you'd really like a big car, but you really think you ought to buy a small car, maybe what you ought to buy is a mid-sized car. To be specific, a Buick Century Custom. The Century Custom, you see, offers a lot of the room and comfort you look for in a big car. And the trim size and the V6 engine give you a lot of the benefits of a small car. But the Century Custom has one more thing going for it. It's a Buick. And no matter what size car you're looking for, you just can't do much better than that.
Give your cold to Contact.
Did you know there are over 100 different strains of cold virus? And any one of them can make you sick? That's why there's Contact. No matter what cold virus attacks, one capsule helps relieve your swollen membranes, your runny, sneezy misery up to 12 hours, all day, all night. That's the wonder of Contact.
Give your cold to Contact.
Take only as directed.
Down.
If you need a muffler, now you can Midas-size your car in over 800 Midas shops in the United States.
I got Midas-sized in Topeka, Kansas. It goes to prove you're never too old.
I got Midas-sized in Brooklyn, New York. Words alone cannot express my satisfaction.
Once we Midas-size your car, you'll never have to buy a muffler for it again. Because at Midas, if anything ever goes wrong, we guarantee to replace the muffler free for as long as you own your American-made car. Noisy muffler? Don't compromise. Midas-size at Midas.
I got Midas-sized in Waco, Texas. You never seen a muffler that size before.
The next time you hear that noise, don't compromise. Midas-sized.
In case you didn't know, the 41 Chicagoland Midas dealers can install mufflers on most foreign cars with the same expertise with which they've been installing mufflers on American cars for the past 20 years.
Everyone suffers from claustrophobia, especially if the winter is severe enough to make moving about almost impossible. This is a story of one family cooped up by circumstance, by living conditions, and by the accident of an awful, severe winter. It's the story of a cat, of a little girl with too much imagination, and of how dangerous dreams can be if we determine to make them come true for anyone but ourselves.
The thing of it is, family, it's no fun to be stuck way out in the country, especially with no school, on account of there isn't enough heat. It's awfully lonely. I'm glad you're sorry, Fammy, but it doesn't help much. If you could only talk. But cats can't really. Can they? Or come to think of it, why not? Suppose you could talk real people talk. How would you sound? How would you like me to sound? I don't know. That doesn't sound much like a cat. But I really do need someone to talk to. What about your mother? Oh, she's fine. Whenever she has time. When she isn't painting, or worrying, or taking care of Daddy. Oh, he and can't be disturbed. There's always Uncle Willie. Yes. Only he's sort of, sad. Maybe it's because he's sick. I wish I could make him feel better. How could you? That's what I don't know. I've got to think about it. So? What should we talk about? Well, I have this sort of idea.
Dinah?
Yes, Mother?
Did I hear you talking to someone?
No, Mummy. Well, just to Fammy.
It didn't sound like a cat to me. You're sure there's no one else in this room?
No, honest. Cross my heart.
It's lonely, isn't it?
It's all right. I just wish...
What, dear?
You want to play some dominoes?
Honey, I can't. Look, why don't you go on downstairs and keep Uncle Willie company? He looks like he could use some, and maybe a game of checkers.
He just likes chess, and I can't remember all the moves. I can beat the tar out of him at Chinese checkers, though.
So come on, go wipe him off the map.
Okie doke. Let's track, Fammy.
Fanny? That's not much of a name for a cat.
It is for this one. She's my friend. She's my other self.
Your what?
Oh, you wouldn't understand, Mother. She's my familiar, like I read about in a book.
What book?
About witches and fairies and goblins and everything. If you're a witch, you can have a familiar. That's like a real friend.
And that mangy little cat is your bosom buddy?
She's not mangy either.
And you aren't a witch. Oh, go on down, see your uncle and give him a few laughs. Oh, David, I thought it would be all right to come in. I didn't hear the typewriter going.
Well, I'm up against a real block, Joan. You know, hazards of the profession or whatever you call a writer. What goes?
Oh, no big deal. Just Dinah.
What's she gotten herself into now?
Well, it isn't exactly what she's gotten herself into. More like what we have.
Meaning?
Darling, it's terribly simple. We wanted to flex some novel, and I gave up a cushy job at the museum.
Check.
Not quite. We thought it all out. Brave new world. Hole up in the country cheap with Uncle Willie as our angel. Only we forgot one member of the family. Dinah.
Dinah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we both agreed that at least 1 year in country schools would be a happy change for us.
Sure, darling, except who knew winter was going to be this way? Who knew our love child was going to be so desperate she'd have to start inventing companionship of her own?
Hey, wait a minute. It can't be that bad.
Well, it's okay for you. You sit here in your ivory tower away from it all.
Wait a minute. That was the deal. A year off for me, for the both of us. No, we did know it was going to be tough. I mean, living on next to nothing. That's why we're buried in the country.
Lord knows we can't afford to live anywhere else.
Or even here, if it wasn't for Uncle Willie. Lousy thing to imagine that if he hadn't got sick, we couldn't have swung it.
Well, let's not bury ourselves in any martyr complexes, Dave. We were happy to have his financial help in exchange for, well, what do we really offer him?
3 squares a day, a roof over his head, and Dinah.
Dinah. Yes, that's a rather special gift. I just worry about how much we're offering her.
No, Dinah can manage very well.
Oh, she's a complicated little mechanism. Darling, we did take her away from all her friends, and it's so remote out here, particularly with this awful winter
And what?
And, oh, I know it's childish and ridiculous of me, but why did you have to find her that darn cat?
What about a cat?
Fammy.
Huh?
Fammy, the cat. Short for familiar.
Oh, that's her name?
Oh, that's what Dinah dubbed him. It, whatever the scrawny thing is. It's kind of scary when you come right down to it.
What, the cat?
No, the cat is a cat, but the way Dinah feels about it.
How does she feel about it?
Well, you know what a familiar is. The alter ego of a witch.
Hey, you're suggesting that Dinah is...
Oh, don't be ridiculous, but she read about it somewhere. You know how much she reads and how suggestible she is, and I swear she's got this notion that the cat is... Well, I sort of said it already. Her other self.
Oh, come on, Joan. What on earth would give you the idea that...
She talks to herself, Dave.
Well, who doesn't if you're alone enough?
Out loud?
Well, sometimes, like to an imaginary playmate.
Well, this isn't exactly the same. The playmate talks back in another voice.
You're kidding.
I wish I were.
What kind of voice?
As if it were a cat's voice.
You mean that stray cat I found her?
Maybe.
Well, it's crazy. We're all uptight. No, got to get used to the new life.
Look, everything we decided was great for us. The problem is that child we made together. Altogether too long ago.
Oh, you make me feel like a hero.
I didn't mean to, except...
Well, one. I should be thinking of her future instead of mine.
Well, so could you spend just a little time with her?
Yes. Yeah, of course I'll spend time with her, but I don't know how to say it. I have a deadline for this novel. I have gambled everything to take a year off to finish it. All right, I'll admit it. I'm not much use to you, Joan, anyone. I'm soaked in this, in what I'm doing. Oh, can't you handle the rest?
Of course I can, darling. I don't want you to worry anymore.
Yeah, but I do. Where's Dinah now?
Oh, I think she's with Uncle Willie.
Could I ask you a question, Uncle Willie?
What? Yes, of course. Why not, child?
Are you really all that sick?
Sick? Now, Dinah, what kind of question is that? I was sick.
What kind of sick?
Well, it had to do with my lungs, and really, that's something I shouldn't talk with you about. Forget it. I'm fine now.
No more sniffles. Or like that?
No more sniffles. I really wasn't that sick at all.
Then why were you so sad all the time?
Sad? Yes, I guess I am sad. Oh, well, I don't know.
I think it's because you're all alone.
Well, now, I'm not that alone. I have you and your mother and father and...
I guess that's it, Uncle Willie. You just don't have someone who's specially yours. Like I have Mommy and Daddy and then Fammy.
Fammy?
My very own cat. See?
Yes, I see. And you're right, Dinah. That is my problem. I don't have someone of my very own.
Why not?
Well, simply because there's nobody who wants me.
I think everyone has to have someone who wants him. It's just a matter of finding them.
And that's the difficult trick. I just haven't been able to.
Would you like me to find someone for you, Uncle Willie?
Don't I wish you could? Who'd want me?
Well, you never know. Daddy says there's always someone for everyone.
If you can find her.
If you can't, maybe I can. Me and Fammy, I mean.
What could you find me, child, in this godforsaken wilderness?
Oh, you might be surprised. Once me and Fammy put our heads together... What? Who is it?
It's your familiar, Dinah. You want to help Uncle Willie?
Oh, yes.
Find him someone to make him happy?
Yes.
Then I will tell you who and how. Will you trust me?
I always trust anyone I love.
That's good. Because after we make Uncle Willie happy, then we can start to worry about you.
Don't worry about me. I'm happy.
Are you, Dinah? Are you? If you want to stay as you are, you better be very sure. Sure, yeah.
Dinah? Dinah?
Oh, Mom.
Oh, are you all right? You didn't call out for me?
No.
Oh, never mind, darling. You must have been having a bad dream. Oh, now really, that cat in bed again. I think that's what's disturbing you. I'll take her away.
No, I need her. I need her so much, Mummy. She's like a sister. Another bit of me.
Oh, all right. Good night, darling.
Night, Mummy.
Oh, why do I dislike you? Poor, scrawny, hungry-looking kitten. Maybe it's because you're more of an outcast than all of us. Oh, what's the matter with me? What harm could you possibly bring anyone?
What harm indeed? A stray cat, left behind by some summering family who were hard-hearted enough to abandon it when they left. Picked up by the Hastings family out of the kindness of their hearts and welcomed by a lonely child as her closest friend and confidant. What harm could the cat, now called familiar, bring? I'll return shortly with Act Two.
If you're thinking about buying a shirt, or even if you're not, I'd like to make an announcement. It is possible to actually love a shirt. Some shirts are special. They're made a little bit better, and they make you feel a little bit better every time you put them on. They're called Arrow shirts. If you'd like to feel that way about a shirt, slip yourself into an Arrow Kent, the shirt that's become an American classic because men really love them. What they love is Kent's quality, button for button and stitch for stitch. Kent style that looks like today but doesn't look like yesterday a month after you. Kent's cut, full with exact neck size and sleeve length so it looks good and fits good. Kent feels good too, and it's easy to take care of because it's a gentle blend of Dacron polyester and cotton. slip into an Arrow kit. More men do than any other kind.
It's hard to miss with Arrow. Arrow shirts.
Arrow, America's shirt maker.
Believe it or not, summer is on its way. Some of the flowers are now blooming, and it can get very muggy and very uncomfortable this summer. So why not look into buying a Bryant Quiet Line Deluxe Central Air Conditioning System? It's the right time to buy Bryant. So call Berwyn Western in Berwyn at 484-0605. He's got the right price. That's Bryant Air Conditioning, the unit that saves you more because it has the lowest EER rating. In fact, it could save you enough money to pay for your Bryant Quiet Line Deluxe in 5 years. So call Berwyn Western in Berwyn at 484-0605. That's 484-0605.
Everyone has fantasies, daydreams. We even, like Walter Mitty, act them out sometimes. It's an inexpensive, harmless enough pastime, and may even be very good mental therapy. Except if we start to believe our fantasies. Then, sometimes, they can lead us into trouble. Like the trouble Dinah caused, with nothing but the best of intentions.
I'm quiet. Want to wake up everyone in the house? Oh, you Sammy. You never sleep. You just take cat naps. No. Don't try to snuggle in. I've got to get up. I've got to... Oh, that's right. No school again. What am I going to do with another whole day? Are you asking me? Of course I'm not asking you. You can't have any ideas without me thinking of them first. Why? Because you're only a filament of my imagination. Or is that figment? I wouldn't be too sure. I'm not. That's why I'm trying to decide which it is. I didn't mean that. What did you mean? About my not having any ideas for myself. Well, you can't. I've got one right now. About what? Uncle Willie. You mean about finding him someone? We don't have to. How come? Because I know just who it could be. Who? Gloria Roberts. You mean the egg lady's sister? That's the one. She's sort of pretty, I guess. But don't you think she's kind of young for Uncle Willie? Don't worry. She's not too young for him. He's got a thing about her, I know. How do you know? I just do. I think you're right. One day when we were getting things from the egg lady, she introduced her sister Gloria to him, and he got all sort of jumpy and red in the face. But he's too old for her. Oh, you never know. What about the egg lady? She's much too plain for him. He'd never go for her. No, I guess it's Gloria or nobody. How do we get Uncle Willie and Gloria together? I don't think that would be too hard.
Dinah?
You can come in, Mommy. I'm awake.
I thought I heard your alarm clock.
You did.
Oh, you forget there was no school?
Yep, dopey me.
Well, maybe by Monday it'll be warm enough to really go... Oh, I'm sorry, Sammy.
You didn't have to sit on her.
Dinah, I didn't see her, and she shouldn't be in the bed with you anyway.
We were just keeping each other warm.
While you were talking to yourself?
That's not fair. You're eavesdropping.
Oh, don't be silly. I just heard a mumble coming down the hall. Dinah, try and ride with it, please. Give Daddy a chance to finish his book. Then we can move back again where there are more people.
Oh, it's all right. But see, I'm not really talking to myself.
All right, dear. Now, how about some breakfast?
Neat. Then can I take a walk?
Oh, where are you planning to walk to?
I thought maybe I'd go down to the egg lady and smell what she's baking.
To Maggie Roberts' house? Oh, I don't know. With all this snow, it's a little far for you alone.
Maybe Uncle Willie could walk with me.
Oh, maybe he could. We'll ask him. And if that's where you're going, we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
What do you mean?
Well, we're almost out of bread. You can bring me back a couple of loaves. What did you think I meant?
Oh, nothing. Nothing.
Dinah, are you up to something?
Why, Mommy, what could I be up to?
She is up to something, David. I know it.
Now, what could she be up to?
I don't know, David. She's just too darn smart for her own good. And maybe ours.
Come on, Joan. What are we doing to hurt her? Well, we didn't set up the deep freeze this winter, and anyway, how long can it last? Now, all we need is a good warm spell to get us tracking again. Oh, incidentally, where's our femme fatale?
Oh, she's off to Maggie Roberts to pick up some bread with Uncle Willie in tow.
Well, that should keep her out of trouble.
It's better than being at home and carrying on those eternal dialogues with that cat. I don't like that cat.
You just don't like cats, period.
That isn't true. Darling, have you ever taken a good look at that cat?
Well, sure. I'm the one who picked it up and brought it home from the woods.
A smoke gray cat with blue eyes.
Yep, that's what she is.
You know there's a kind of legend around here about a cat like that.
The witch cat of Witcherly Corners? Sure. That's how Dinah and me gave the cat its name.
Well, anyways, I don't have to worry about Dinah today. She has Uncle Willie to look out for her.
How come you never got married, Uncle Willie?
Well, if I was a girl, I suppose I'd say because I never got asked.
But you're not a girl.
That's right. So then, I guess you'd have to say because I never found the right one to ask. But we've been down this road before, Dinah.
Not all the way.
What's that mean?
Remember when I said I could find someone for you? Or anyway, me and Sammy?
Well, I recollect something like that.
Well, we're going to see her now.
Who?
The Egg Lady's sister, Gloria.
Well, child, she's almost young enough to be my daughter.
She thinks you're awful cute.
She does? Oh, you're just talking nonsense.
I am not either. She said that to me last week.
She did?
Yes, she did. You can ask Sammy. She was with me.
Mammy?
My cat.
Oh.
She said, your uncle is real cute, Dinah. But how come he's afraid to even say hello to me? I mean, Gloria said that, not Sammy. Are you afraid to say hello to her?
Why, no. Why would I be? Well, it's just she's so young and sure of herself. Well, I don't think this is something we should be discussing.
Me neither.
Well, good.
I think it's something we should be doing something about. Oh, what a yell.
Except the bread isn't quite baked yet. I'm afraid you'll have to wait, Dinah.
Oh, that's all right.
I hope Mr. Brown doesn't mind too much.
Oh, no, Mrs. Roberts. I'm like Dinah. No smell in the world like baking bread.
I'd make you a cup of coffee, but I've got to get the dough ready for a new batch.
Where's your sister today, Miss Roberts?
Gloria? Oh, most likely glued to TV.
Maybe we could just walk up to the house and say hello?
I don't want to bother Miss Roberts.
Maybe she'd like to be.
But her sister said she was looking at TV.
That means she must be bored.
Well, it's quite a long way to the house, and she might not even be there.
Tell you what, I'll run ahead and see if she is.
Yeah?
Hello, Miss Roberts. I'm Dinah Hastings, from up on the hill.
Oh, yeah. What can I do for you?
We're waiting for bread to bake, my uncle and me.
So?
That's my Uncle Willie coming up the hill there. He's very rich, but he's been sick. He's all better now and getting well again.
That's nice.
He's awfully lonely, poor man. And can I tell you a secret?
Why not?
He really has a case on you, only he doesn't want to say so. And your sister said maybe you'd give him a cup of coffee.
Are you putting me on, kid?
I don't know what that means.
A case on me, huh? You say he's not married?
No. He just never could find the right girl.
And he's rich?
Ever so rich.
Ida, I think we ought to be getting back. Bread should be ready now. Oh, hello, Miss Roberts.
Hello, Mr.
Brown. Willie Brown.
Oh, of course, I should have known. I've seen you here before.
Yes, and I noticed you.
Miss Gloria was going to invite you for a cup of coffee.
Really?
Why, I can fix some. Come on in.
Well, I don't know. Dinah, you want some?
Oh, not me. But why don't you? And while you're having it, I want to go down and say hello to the chickens.
Oh, Willie, you are funny. And of course, I noticed you every time you were around.
Oh, I don't know how you can say that. Well, I mean, why would you?
Well, you noticed me.
Oh, that's different.
How?
Well, you're beautiful and young and vibrant.
Oh, who said you were so old? You know something, Willie? You'd be surprised how strong and sexy you come on.
I do?
Sure. I'm just glad I got the chance to kind of get to know you.
Oh, me too, Miss Roberts.
Oh, come on. Gloria. Look at me. I'm calling you Willie like I know you all my life.
Gloria, you're some kind of a girl.
Oh, just lonely.
Like me.
Oh, well, you don't have to be, Willie. Not as long as I'm around. Oh, but that's silly because you're so rich that now you've got your health back, you'll cut out, and I probably won't ever see you again.
Well, money isn't everything, Gloria, and now that I've met you, I know... Well, I can feel I've got all my health back. Listen, how'd you like to go to town tonight? Have dinner, see a movie, go dancing.
Well, I'm certainly glad we have the bread, Uncle Willie.
Well, so am I, Dinah. So am I. Otherwise, I just can't believe that... Oh, don't mind me. I don't know what I'm saying.
Sometimes, when I'm happy or excited, I get the same way. It was a nice walk, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It went quite a bit farther than I expected.
I don't think we went that far.
I wasn't thinking of you, Dinah, just myself. I never went so far in my life. Thanks to you.
Hello? Oh, yes, Willie. You what? Oh, no, it's all right. Of course, we're all asleep, but... yes. Mm-hmm. All right, you're a big boy. No, of course. Fine.
What was that all about?
Oh, your Uncle Willie went dining and dancing in town, and when he and Gloria Roberts were about to start back, he found his battery was dead. They're going to have to stay in town overnight.
Overnight? Well, we're halfway through it already.
What? Didn't you hear when you snuck down the hall just now about Uncle Willie and Gloria? Not exactly. I don't care anyway. I'm too sleepy. They like each other. We cast a spell over them just like we planned. What's the difference? Isn't that what we wanted? Now they'll have to get married. Or else. Isn't that what we wanted? I suppose. I'm just too sleepy to remember.
A lonely little girl opens up life
for an even lonelier and far older man. Uncle Willie has become involved with a woman with whom he can have no sensible future. And what was the influence that led him there? A naive little girl? Or the strange, smoky cat with the blue eyes who might or might not be a witch? I'll return with Act 3.
I guess I'm lucky. My family's always been healthy. Oh, a touch of constipation now and then. But we've got X-Lax for that.
When you need a laxative, shouldn't your first choice be the one more families buy than any other? That's today's X-Lax. Families like the chocolated taste. You like the way X-Lax works, gently overnight for relief in the morning. Next time, make gentle chocolated X-Lax your first choice for occasional use only as directed.
We've always been healthy, and X-Lax is part of that.
I love my skin, so I don't play games with it. When I slip into my bikini, I always slip into my Sea and Ski. Any sun product will help me tan, but Sea and Ski gives me the kind of tan you want to touch.
Sea and Ski penetrates, moisturizes, protects, helps your skin stay smooth and supple. So get the tan you want to touch with Sea and Ski, the sun specialists. We know your skin.
Come on, sun, it's you and me and Sea and Ski.
WBBM Chicago. You may have fire insurance for your home, but True Value the GE smoke alarm mounts on the ceiling anywhere in your home and detects dangerous smoke before you can see or smell it. Then sounds a loud warning siren that could save your family's lives, even at night when everyone's asleep. And the battery-operated GE Home Sentry smoke alarm from True Value hardware stores features a dual warning system that reminds you when to replace the batteries. Insure your family from the dangers of fire 24 hours a day with a General Electric Home Sentry smoke alarm. It's from participating True Value hardware stores.
True Value hardware is more than just a name. It's a way of doing business that means True Value.
The tiniest thing in our finite world, the atom, is the source of its most devastating destruction. So, too, the most naive and innocent meddling in emotions can sow an equally minuscule seed of possible destruction. Not that on their way home from town, Willie and Gloria are conscious of anything like that.
Willie, honest, you're too much. This car is a dream. I can't get over the way you just went out and bought it like that.
Well, I couldn't haul a princess in that old wagon I was driving.
Oh, you say the nicest things.
Well, I haven't maybe said the nicest thing yet. You going to marry me, Gloria?
Oh, you gonna take me out of Wycherley Corners?
Darn right. And anywhere you want to go.
You can afford all that?
I can afford it.
All right, Willie. I'm gonna marry you.
You're gonna marry this you're gonna marry Gloria?
That's right, David.
Oh, well, don't you think she's kind of... Well, I mean that you're sort of old... I mean, you really think it's gonna work?
David, son, I'm a new man. And I just want you and Joan to know I paid up the rent and I'll take care of the utilities and everything just the way you planned.
No, Uncle Willie, you don't have to.
Well, it's the least I can do. After all, I owe my whole new future to your little girl, Dinah.
You're going to be married?
You? Yes, Maggie. So what?
To Mr. Brown?
That's right.
But you don't love him.
What's the diff? What are you, Maggie, jealous?
Yes, if you want to know. That has nothing to do with it.
Oh, sure. That has nothing to do with you wanting to spoil it for me.
I don't care about you, Gloria. I learned a long time ago you seem to be able to take care of yourself. I just don't want you to spoil it for him.
So isn't that generous of you, little mother? What are you going to do to stop me?
Nothing, I suppose. What can I do?
Willie's coming with the ring money this morning. $2,500 so I can pick something real nice.
$2,500?
Sure. Listen, kid, I've taken my lumps enough for men.
Especially that Lonnie boy. I never thought I'd see the day when I wished he was around again.
Why?
Because he's your type. You wanted to get away from the farm. That's the kind of riffraff you should have taken off with. Oh, you're no good, Gloria. Why don't you leave that poor, nice man alone?
So you could have him? No, sir. He wants me. So why shouldn't he have me?
Because you'll walk out on him the first chance you get. You're just looking for a chance to escape from here. All you want from him is his money.
Well, I couldn't get it in cash, so I'm taking the next best thing. I think I'll walk up to the road to meet sweet William. I don't want him getting the wheels on his new car all dirtied with the farmyard muck. Willie? Uncle Willie, just a minute.
Yes, what is it, Joan?
Are you driving into town?
Yep.
I hate to ask you, but with the weather, she's been so housebound. Could you take Dinah with you?
Joan, dear, I'm sorry, not today. Gloria and I are going to buy an engagement ring.
Oh, well, have a nice day.
Well, I expect to. Today is the beginning of a whole new life for me. Bye, Joan. Bye, Dinah.
I guess he didn't want to take me?
No, he's taking Gloria. What a mess.
What a mess?
Willie and that girl. It's all wrong, and I don't know how to stop it. I just wish I knew who started it. He's making the worst mistake of his life.
Why, Mommy? Uncle Willie is so lonely. Don't you think he should have someone to love? Like you and Daddy?
Everyone should have someone to love, but if Willie had to pick on one of the Roberts sisters, why couldn't he have picked on Maggie?
Hey, well, what do you know? Hey, Gloria, baby, you waiting for me?
Lonnie!
In person, not a picture.
Here, I thought you cut out for good.
Well, baby, things are uptight, so I split for a while. Hey, I never said I wouldn't be back.
Oh, no, but you sure didn't live up to no promises.
I had to build a stake, babe, so I tooled around, seen where it's at, so now I'm back.
Just passing through, huh?
Oh, no way. I'm here to pick you up.
Pick me up?
Sure. All you and me ever wanted was to split this scene, so now we can. Hey, and I made a couple of scores.
Oh, Lonnie, I can't.
How come?
Well, see, there's this guy I'm waiting for now. I mean, he's older and all, but me and him, we're supposed to be married. He's bringing the ring money today, and
Hey, what's that got to do with me? Hey, you want to be my chick again, huh? You want to ride easy?
Lonnie, what are you trying to do to me?
I'm just trying to get us back where we were, babe. You and me, you know. That is old character. Ditch him.
Well, if you want me, Lonnie, I'll try to.
What is it?
Oh, he's coming now. That's his car.
So?
But I have to tell him now?
Why hold up, huh?
Hi, Precious. What are you doing? Waiting for me here up on the road.
Hey, she's not waiting, man. She just happened to catch us before we cut out.
Cut out?
Yeah. Me and my chick.
Well, is he talking about you, Gloria?
I'm sorry, Willie. Yeah.
What do you mean you're sorry?
Well, I guess we can't get married. It was a crazy notion anyway.
But we were going to get the engagement ring and...
Hey, wise up, Pops, will you? Now, what are you trying to do? Rob the cradle, huh? Now, you can't handle something like Gloria, so just bow out quiet.
You'd take a bum like this over me, Gloria, old as I am?
Oh, you got to understand, Willie.
Hey, let me handle this. What's that? What's that, huh? You figure yourself you better than me?
I know enough about you to know you're no good for her.
Oh, now let's not mess around, man.
I'm not going to let you abduct her.
Abduct? Oh, now there's for laughs.
This isn't for laughs, any of it. I'll tell you I'd kill you before I...
Back off, man. Will you bet? Well, I'm going to let you have it now.
You're not taking Gloria away from me.
Okay, buddy.
Get scared.
Oh, listen. I'm sorry, Gloria, baby, but he asked for it.
You didn't hurt him too bad.
No, not just laid him out. Come on, let's split.
And leave him here?
Here, come around.
You sure?
Yeah, I didn't hit him that hard.
Okay, but if we're going...
Yeah?
You want to stay to ride us for a while? He's got the cash right in his pocket.
Willie?
Yeah. What?
It's Maggie. Can you help me to get yourself up?
I don't want to get up. Just want to sleep.
No.
Can't help it. The way it is. I have to.
No, come on, Mr. Brown. Willie, come on.
What?
You're frozen stiff. You've got to come with me. You'll catch your death of cold.
Hello? Yes? Oh, Maggie. What? Well, yes, we didn't know where he was, but what time is it? 6 o'clock. In the snow all night. Oh, yes, I'll get my husband up and we'll get there as soon as we can.
What's wrong, Mommy?
It's Uncle Willie. He had an accident and lay all night in the snow. Maggie Roberts has sent for the doctor.
Why'd he do that?
Well, because his sweetheart, Gloria, took off with another man. And in trying to stop them, Willie got hurt. How do you like that, Dinah?
What do you mean, Mommy?
Weren't you responsible for getting Uncle Willie and Gloria together?
Here's a little soup, Mr. Brown, to warm you up.
Smells good. Tastes good, too.
That's the bread. Have to bake it every morning.
It's morning?
Yes.
I've been out that long?
Almost a whole day?
Gloria's gone, I suppose.
Yeah, she's gone.
With the money?
What money?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Well, I suppose I should curl up and die, but I won't.
Well, that's nice to hear.
You fed me. The soup was marvelous, and, well, the bread always has been.
Oh, I'm glad you like it.
Maggie?
Yes?
You're a very beautiful woman.
Oh, that isn't true.
Oh, I think so.
Then I want to be beautiful. And I'll try as hard as I can.
Why didn't I ever see that before? It's really worth being sick for me to find out.
Sammy, we have to have a very serious talk before we go to sleep. This thing that's happened with my uncle. It just goes to prove we had no right to go fiddling with his life. Oh, great. Now you're just going to sneak out of it, all by pretending to be a plain old cat? Okay for you. Mostly, I figure, we were just lucky. Still and all, if we hadn't meddled, Uncle Willie would have had nobody at all. Oh, very well. I get the message, but I have one for you. From now on, you're just a cat. And with school starting tomorrow, I'm going to be too busy to be anything but a 7th grader. Anyway, it's gotten like spring again, and the snow is melting. It's a whole nother world. I may keep talking to you because you are my friend, but I'm just plain never going to allow you to talk back anymore.
Tell me, where is fancy bread? In the heart or in the head? I said in the beginning that it was in both the heart and the head of a child. But perhaps I'll amend that a little at the end of it all. For Willie Brown and plain Maggie Roberts, it was in their hearts. And as for the active mind of a cooped-up little girl with spring on the way, her fantasies would no longer have to be acted out for herself. She would be reliving the wonderful fantasy of just being young among her peers. I'll be back shortly.
You've never had a really exotic car, have you? Because you've always felt that you needed something a little more down to earth. But you still want that exotic car, don't you? You know what you need? A Buick Skyhawk. It's small, it's V6 powered. Hey, it's even got a hatchback. Now that's down to earth. But with things like bucket seats, available 5-speed manual transmission, and that laid-back, low-down styling, it's not exactly plain vanilla. The Buick Skyhawk, the car you need and the car you want.
Someone has a 45,000-ton battering ram headed for the Golden Gate Bridge. In Alistair McLean's exciting new thriller, The Golden Gate. What do they want? $500 million. What's their threat? The destruction of the Golden Gate Bridge. Who's on the bridge? The President of the United States. The odds? Getting better for the terrorists each moment. Alistair McLean, best-selling author of Circus, has done it again. Alistair McLean's The Golden Gate. Now a Fawcett paperback.
Hey there, fellas. How y'all?
Morning, Sheriff. Nice to see you, Sheriff.
Hey, howdy, Sheriff. Hey, I ain't seen much of you boys on the highway lately. Y'all ain't been changing routes to avoid me now.
Not me, Sheriff.
No way, Sheriff.
No, sorry, Sheriff.
See, I hear tell a lot of you 18-wheelers on them Johnson CB radios.
You mean the new 40-channel Johnson CBs with tapered automatic noise limiters?
And dual crystal filtering.
And that nifty new power bar LED meter? Electronic speech compression?
With Johnson's new range control.
And their X300D phase lock loop frequency synthesizer? Nope, Sheriff. None of us truckers ever heard of them new Johnson CBs. Till you mentioned it just now.
You know, when a trucker hits the road with his Johnson CB, he knows he's got a lot going for him. Why, in a recent survey, 66% more independent truck drivers own an American-made Johnson CB than the next leading brand. Now, which CB's best for y'all? Go with Johnson CB. Clearly the professional's choice.
10-4, Sheriff. Oh, FCC license required. It's free, too.
Yeah.
In case anyone might wonder, the planned wedding of Willie Brown did take place, with one major change. The bride was named Maggie instead of Gloria. The maid of honor was Dinah Hastings, a new and rather poised young lady who had somehow moved from child to reserved teenager, but who still retained enough freedom of soul to save one flower from the bridal bouquet she caught, to fasten in the collar of her dearly loved and not forgotten familiar. Our cast included Sarah Parker, Bryna Rayburn, Evie Juster, Earl Hammond, and Guy Sorrell. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by X-Lax. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.